Welcome to Killing Time here at the Hickory Bench Playhouse, but we're really not at the Hickory Bench Playhouse. We're not in the studio. We're in my den. Social distancing has brought us to my den. And here we are. And welcome. That's the kitchen back there. If you want anything to drink, the refrigerator isn't that far away. Go ahead and get yourself a brew. But we're glad to be with you, and we're going to be doing two things here, and we hope you're going to be doing one thing. We only ask one thing: subscribe. Go ahead, take that bony finger of yours and go bing, 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 bing. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, boom. Even if you think it's mediocre, what does it take? You just have to go boing. That's it, right? It would help everybody out. And we're going to be doing two things here. We're going to be giving you the latest from the Hickory Bench Playhouse. This episode is entitled Larry Rottweiler, Private Eye, the Man with the Big Sombrero. We like to give you a little off-the-cuff entertainment. I write them and produce them and direct them, and it stars Ivy Austin and Rich Mewins, and it's animated by Christine Negrin, and John Thumbs Tobacco edits them. And it's sort of a fun part of what we're doing. The watch industry years ago was instrumental in helping radio and TV really get started, and they were supporting shows like the Ed Sullivan Show and the Jackie Gleason Show, and Satchmo would be on TV and he'd be pitching Timex watch. So in keeping with that sort of tradition, we've got our own entertainment that we're going to be supporting through our watch reviews. So it's going to become part of what we're doing. So we're going to bring you that, and we're also going to be talking about this watch. Again, the Seiko SKX and its replacement, which is what we're calling the Seiko Sports 5. And did Seiko hit a home run, or did they fall flat on their face? Let's go take a look. So let's talk about the replacements of this watch, the SKX 007 and 009. And I should remind you that if you like this show, to subscribe, hit the like button. It helps everybody out. I mention it now because I may aggravate a lot of people with this review. So I'm hoping that you'll subscribe now, not wait till the end where you go, I'm not going to subscribe to this thing. But at any rate, that would be terrific, and we would appreciate that. So this is the SKX 009 in the flesh. It's been replaced by what we'll call the Seiko Sports 5. And there are a bunch of these. It's this watch sort of modified. And a lot of people did that. They would buy this watch, and then they'd modify it to look like this. Or, see, they would go ahead and put on a NATO style. This is a two-piece nylon strap with kind of the NATO hardware. I'm not a big fan of the NATO strap, but a lot of people modified their watch to go from this to this. So what Seiko sort of understood is that we know there's a cottage industry doing all that modification stuff, but we'll do it. We'll go ahead and provide it for you, and that's what they've done. And they've got so many different varieties. I mean, take a look at. Matter of fact, I still have the plastic on the back. I bought this watch back in December of last year. And here it is, nearly June. And I really haven't worn it much at all. It is, collect them all is what they're hoping. It's like when we were kids, you'd get the action figure, you get the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip, and they always said, collect them all. Well, I think that's what Seiko is getting us to do, and it may be working. At least it's working for me. I've got like 5 of them here, and you can say I really don't wear them that much. But one of the things that people always said about this is that this is a bona fide diver's watch. It has a screw-down crown, and it's good to 200 meters. That's 660 feet. This is the real deal. Navy SEALs use this watch. This is good to 100 meters. And this isn't a screwdriver. You just pop this out to change the time. So a lot of people say this is a real diver's watch, ISO certified. This is nothing. This is just made to look like. It's in the style of a diver's watch. Well, is this really a diver's watch? I mean, really? No. Nobody is using this today. This is old technology. This is not state of the art. This is the old stuff. This is, there's a person on YouTube, Alec Pierce, and he's an old-time scuba diver, and he looks like the Chuck Yeager of scuba diving. And I listened to his channel. I was doing some research, and he's been diving. I think he started diving with the Great Flood, 40 days, 40 nights. He strapped a scuba tank on, and he went underwater. And he said, this is old technology. This is like using a slide rule instead of a computer. You might want to check out his channel. He really does look like Chuck Yeager. Before he goes in the water, you expect him to say, anybody got a stick of Beemans? That's everything. But he's really interesting. I love his passion for his hobby. So this really isn't a diver's watch anymore. You go on board a boat, the divers they're not using this. They're using a computer that looks like this. Notice it shows you the tank, it shows you your depth. This, and people talk about the bezel. Well, we've got the bezel here, and that's for how much time you're under. If you just stared at that bezel the entire time you're underwater, if you don't check your submersible pressure gauge, you could be out of air. Even though you're staring at this thing, saying, hey, what's going on? This shouldn't be. The other thing about this and this 200-meter business, and this only being 100 meters, is that good enough? Yes, it's good enough. How deep do people really dive? Well, recreationally, it's about 100, 130 feet, tops. So this is fine. You don't have to worry about 660 feet. This at 100 meters is fine. So, and a matter of fact, most divers don't go below what's known as the light zone, which is generally at around 100 feet. The light zone is where you won't be able to see this. That's why we have the loom here. People get really excited about the loom. I'm not that excited about it. It reminds me when I was a kid, Cheerios would throw those toys in the cereal, and you'd get like the diver, you get the submarine, the Nautilus, and you put baking powder, and you'd throw it in the water, and it would go down, and then it would come back up, and then it would go back down. And those, you could put them in the sunlight, and they would, glow for a while, the same thing. But I'm not wearing my watch at night when I'm asleep. It's not on my wrist. I never wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and say, where's my watch? I look over at the night table, and there's the alarm clock there. And I always find the way the Luminix, well, we got a Luminix on this dial here. It's like they're trying to sell me a 1955 Studebaker. It comes with a split front windshield, rear view mirror, AM radio, and those headlights, they're Luminix. You won't outdrive those headlights because it's Luminix. Okay. If I really wanted to see the dial, I'd get myself a $39 Timex with Indiglo. You push the button and boom, you see the entire dial, or a Casio for $40 that, everything lights up. So I'm not that excited about the loom, but that's why these watches have loom, because you have to worry about diving down around the light zone. And we also, see things. Notice this has got a red tip on the second hand on this. And this watch, which is a diver's watch too, notice it has red here. What colors are good underwater? You ever think about that? What colors are good? Red is the worst. It may be highlighted here, and it may be highlighted here, but you get to 15 to 20 feet, and that becomes black. Orange. And we all know about docks of the sub 300, and they talk about the orange face and how that can be seen underwater. This orange face, and this is this orange face is good to about 25 to 50 feet, and then it turns black. That's it, 25 to 50 feet. Orange is good for Halloween, not so good underwater. Yellow is good to about 100 feet. Green, incidentally, is good to about 250 feet. What's the best? The best is blue. And that's good to about 270 feet, and then it turns white. So, the colors I find sort of interesting, and I find, it's sort of interesting, and a lot of people get very much involved in the loom, and they like it. And I think that's fun. I think that's good. That's part of the watch that they like, and I think that's great. Anything that draws you into the hobby, I think, is terrific. But is this a dive watch? Nah. Now, Seiko has, if you notice this watch, it says PADI, Professional Association of Diving Instructors. Like they're giving it their stamp of approval. Are they? No. For the last 5 years, they don't even talk about this technology. They don't even talk about any of the charts, the Navy chart. And when you used to watch, you went underwater and you had, the laminated plastic charts with you, the Navy tables. Nobody's using those things anymore. They're all going and relying on their computer. How many divers are there in the United States? There are about 3 million. How many people are in the United States? Well, 18 and over, according to the 2018 report, it's about 254 million. That means only 1% of America are divers. Yet how many diving watches are out there today? It's a style. It's a style created back in 1953 by the Rolex Submariner. And all watches are really a product of that design today. It is, I believe, the best design in a sports watch. And we've got these. And is there really an argument that can be made that this watch, in terms of its ability to be used underwater, is any? Well, this certainly will go to 660 feet, but this is enough to do the job. And the people who are talking about it, are they going underwater? I'm talking about it, and I don't go underwater. I'm not down there, blah, 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 blah. Oh, fishes, blah, 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 coral, blah, 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 turtle, blah, no. Do I have enough air left? Blah, blah, blah. None of that. So we're going to talk more about it, because one of the things I want to do is I want to leave time here. I write and produce and direct the Hickory Bench Playhouse that stars Ivy Austin and Rich Mewins, and that's a lot of fun. And one of the great things that the watch industry did in the early days of TV and radio was they really sponsored entertainment. And I want to stick with that tradition. So here at Killing Time, we want to go ahead and bring you the Hickory Bench Playhouse. And this episode features Larry Rottweiler, Private Eye, the man with the big sombrero. And next week, we'll get back to all of these watches and all that stuff. Larry?
Time now for Larry Rottweiler, Private Eye, the man with the big sombrero.
I was down to my last cigarette when I heard a strange knock on the door. There she was, a dream standing in the doorway with legs that could make a freight train jump its tracks. She couldn't have weighed more than 95 pounds, dripping wet.
Mind if a small-town girl from Beaver Falls comes in out of the Wayne?
How could I say no? Why don't you sit here? She was the type of dame that could make a glass eye cry. Before you could say, John Jacob Gummenheimer Schmidt, she had thrown a crisp 50 on my desk.
Rottweiler? There's more where that came from.
I was sure there was. I was sure she was the babe who could lead me to it, one way or the other.
You have time for a bedtime story?
Have anything to do with you and the Three Bears?
Not this time.
She was right out of Soldier of Fortune magazine. Made the hair on your back of your neck stand up.
I guess you know why I'm here.
I didn't have a clue, but I didn't let on. I know it's because I'm Larry Rottweiler, Private Eye, the man with the big sombrero.
Sombrero, huh?
Big. Very big. Wide brim.
Does your sombrero have a little chin strap to keep it in place?
No, it has a mind all its own. She was driving me crazy. She was stripping all 4 gears, leaving nothing by the side of the road. She was making a move, and I was her bait.
Rottweiler. They're after me. You have to hide me. You have to do something.
Oh, just calm down. Listen to me and listen good. I'm going to get rid of the coppers. I want you to hide inside that old abandoned dumbwaiter. When they leave, I'll come get you.
Rottweiler, how can I thank you?
Yeah, we'll worry about that later, Bright Eyes. Now, watch your step. It can be a little tricky getting into the dumbwaiter.
You mind if I take a drag from your cigarette? You know how that goes. You just put your whips together and puff.
Sure, babe, but we don't have much time. Okay, now off you go. Now watch your step getting into the dumbwaiter.
I won't forget this big sombrero.
Probably not. Now hurry, step in. They'll never suspect she jumped down an empty elevator shaft, plummeting 7 floors just to hide from the strong arm of the law. I tell you, it works every time. I'm all brains. I'm Larry Rottweiler, Private Eye, the man with the big sombrero.
Tune in next week for another nail-biting episode brought to you by your local Red Wagon Motor Inn.
The man with the big sombrero, he's down in Mexico. He has a hat as big as that, a wonderful chapeau. The man with the big sombrero, no bigger than his heart. Hooray!
Well, that's it for today's review, and we hope to see you next week back in my den where we'll kill some time right here at the Hickory Bench Playhouse. Until then, remember, keep your powder dry, aim low because they could be crawling. Good night, everybody.